Hey, what's up everyone? If your feed is anything like mine, you're constantly bombarded with information. Headlines, notifications, feeds that are built to keep you scrolling. And it creates this stupid illusion I've been thinking about. This feeling that, because you're aware of a million things, you somehow understand them. But that's a dangerous trap, and I feel myself falling into it over and over again. And the way out isn't more information, it's a more disciplined mind. Here's the thing. We confuse raw data, what the old Stoic philosophers called impressions, with actual knowledge. An impression is just an input that you haven't examined. It's a headline, a 60-second video, an infographic. It's basically like that surface-level teaser of an idea, kind of like a YouTube thumbnail. It gives you a little flicker of recognition, but that's it. Intelligence is the hard work of sorting through that crap, questioning it, and fitting it into a coherent view of the world. It's like if you came here on YouTube and only looked at thumbnails, and then believed as if you watched all of the videos. So this leads to something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which you might have heard of. It's a cognitive bias where, like, knowing a tiny bit about a subject makes you wildly overconfident. You watch one documentary on quantum physics, and suddenly you feel ready to argue about it, because the words sound familiar. It's a comfortable illusion, right up until someone asks you a direct, clarifying question, and you realize you don't know fucking shit. And that's when it all falls apart. You can't answer. That triggers this mental alarm bell, cognitive dissonance. It's the conflict between, I believe I'm smart, and I can't actually explain this thing. So, to fix that discomfort, you don't reevaluate your knowledge. No, that's too hard and too honest. You get defensive. You attack the person who asked the question, or you just repeat some vague bullshit line with more confidence. It stops being about truth and starts being about protecting your ego. This is an ancient problem, though. Socrates basically built his whole philosophy on this. He'd walk up to the so-called experts in Athens and just ask them to define what they do. And under his simple, persistent questioning, their confident claims would just fucking collapse. They hated him for it, because he forced them to see the ignorance they'd, like, hidden from themselves. His whole, I know that I know nothing line. That's the foundation of intellectual integrity. Another Stoic, Epictetus, put it perfectly. He said, "It is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows." So what's the fix? The Stoics had a practical tool for this. It's called the discipline of assent. The idea is simple. You can't control all the impressions that hit you, especially our modern-day versions. But you have absolute power over whether you agree with them. Receiving a headline is one thing, but accepting it as absolute fact is another thing entirely. A few weeks ago, I saw this video on TikTok of a railroad going through Atlanta, and there was this military cargo train which was transporting a shit ton of tanks and artillery, and I was like, oh fuck, World War III is about to begin. But I, of course, had no context. This was one of the admittedly rare times I actually forced myself to look into something on the surface level a little further. And it turns out it was a video from 2021, and it was some rail line that happened to run through Atlanta, since there is a nearby military base. It was just transporting equipment. So here I was thinking the world was about to end, and it turns out to be a meaningless, contextless video from 4 years ago. So the habit to form requires a deliberate and forced pause. You have to ask, is this source credible? Do I actually understand this? What are the arguments against it? All that shit. This basically means you should give up on having an opinion on everything. You have to choose where you invest your energy. For everything else, you just practice a little Socratic humility and say, you know what? I don't know enough to hold a firm view on that. True intelligence isn't like this shallow lake. It's like a concentrated, super deep well or something.